Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hurricane Milton is currently a Category 4 storm and will continue to be a major hurricane upon making landfall. Duval County is currently under a hurricane watch and a tropical storm warning and a storm surge warning. Tropical storm winds may start by Wednesday evening. You can see the timelines moved a little bit as the storm slowed down a little bit. So heaviest winds Wednesday night through Thursday morning. We're basically talking about midnight through 12 on Thursday. Hurricane force gusts are possible along the ocean and along the riverfront. Storm surge of 2 to 4 feet. Considerable rainfall of 6 to 10 inches could cause flash flooding and storm surge inundation at the beaches and along the St. Johns River. So remember that it only takes 2 feet of storm surge to move a car. I know you're seeing all these big numbers in other places, but still 2 feet of storm surge can move a car. So make sure you're not driving through that. Even after the storm passes on Thursday, we want folks in those flood-prone areas on the river to stay as alert as they can to tidal flooding. It's going to peak on Thursday afternoon and again on Friday. We expect this tidal flooding to continue during high tides through the weekend and even into next week at some level, okay? Life-threatening beach conditions continue to worsen Wednesday and Thursday. I know we have a beautiful day out there today, but the water's already turned up from the high-pressure system that's coming in, so please just stay out of the water. There's no lifeguards on duty at all, and you will be swimming at your own risk, and there will not be anybody out there to save you. So please just stay out of the water at the beaches. Alex Booth from the National Weather Service is going to tell you more about the forecasted track and what we can expect in just a few minutes. But for now, I'll get through a few local notes. Our local state of emergency started at 8 a.m. this morning, so we can initiate public safety resources and set up our shelters. The Duval County Emergency Operations Center is also fully activated as of 8 o'clock this morning. Our team will also be providing a briefing to the City Council at 3 p.m. this afternoon, and then they will continue with their regularly scheduled meeting for Tuesday night. Our office closures. A reminder that all City of Jacksonville and constitutional offices will be closed from Wednesday to Friday. Employees can call 630-CITY and press option 5 during the storm to stay abreast of plans to come back to work. Right now the plan is to bring everybody back on Monday. Just want to make sure that everybody has all the latest information, so you can get that at 630-CITY, option 5. City of Jacksonville Beach offices will close at noon tomorrow and be closed on Thursday. They will reopen Friday if our conditions permit. Atlantic and Neptune beaches will be closed Wednesday and Thursday with expected reopening on Friday as well. City of Baldwin offices will be closed on Thursday, and their garbage and recycling pickup will happen on Friday. There has been a lot of question about evacuation orders. Listen, right now we do not have any evacuation order in Duval County. There are no evacuation orders in Duval County at this time. If you live in a trailer, an older home, a low-lying area, or under a heavy tree canopy, however, because of the winds that we're expecting and in some cases the flood conditions, we really would like for you to consider either going to a shelter or getting to some place away from those conditions, even if it's just a few miles away. So we're not suggesting you get on the road and try to get into all that traffic. We're just saying find a safer place, and the shelters are there for you in the event that you would like to utilize those. In terms of hotels, there has been, and hotels, gas, and food, a lot of media buzz about gas shortages. I want to be very clear. There is no shortage of gas in Jacksonville. In fact, there is no shortage of gas in the state of Florida. So that should not be a concern. What we're seeing is so many people were concerned about filling up early that it just takes time to get those tanks refilled. So I know that the governor talked about making sure the trucks could get in, refill the tanks, making sure all that is good to go. That is happening now. There is no gas shortage in our city, so please don't concern yourself with that. There are a lot of evacuees that are coming here from Central Florida. I communicated with Mayor Jane Castor this morning down in Tampa. She says that so far it looks like folks are leaving there as asked, which is obviously great news. But please, let's keep them in our hearts and prayers down there in Tampa, and please be showing some Jacksonville love to the folks who are up here in our hotels, because they're obviously experiencing a very difficult time. Hotels have reached full occupancy in the 12 lodging options downtown and the surrounding areas. Our beaches hotels are expected to reach full occupancy today. So hotels are full or filling up fast. If you need accommodations, again, I'm going to recommend that you look at the shelters. Right now, we have 6 shelters that are open, and I'll go over those in just a second. I want to just point out that our senior centers do have some shelf-stable meals that will be sent home with seniors today. In addition to fleeing the storm from our south, we currently actually have 300 evacuated horses staying with us at the Equestrian Center. So back to the shelters. We have 6 that are open for those residents who need them. The following shelters will be open starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. We have Atlantic Coast High School. That's on Skinner Parkway. We have Chaffee Trail Elementary on Sam Caruso Way. We have the Legend Center on Sutel Drive. Landmark Middle School on Kernan Boulevard. La Villa School of the Arts on North Davis Street. And Arlington Middle School on Lone Star Road. I want to point out that because we do have so many people coming up here from other places or coming here to try to seek shelter, we are looking at the possibility of having to open additional shelters. We have 5 more that we could activate relatively quickly, and we can do more if we need to. But we want to make sure that if people are seeking shelter from the storm, we know that everybody waits till the last minute sometimes to go. We don't want people to be in harm's way, so if they need to stop in Jacksonville and get into a shelter, we want to have that available, and those decisions will be made when necessary. JTA will be providing free transportation to those shelters starting on Wednesday morning, and American Sign Language interpreters will be at Atlantic Coast High School and the Legend Center. JEA has been working very, very hard since really before this whole thing started to get more line crews here. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, and we are pleased to let you know that they have secured 20 more contractor line crews. So we have now reached 93% of the level of contract crews that we had during Helene. Since there was some confusion about this yesterday, I want to be very clear. All of our JEA employees are working in Jacksonville. There's nobody from JEA that is elsewhere. We're just talking about people that we're bringing in from other places to help us, and they're still continuing to try to contract as many crews as they can. So very, very grateful to JEA for their hard work and getting all that set up. I want to say this again, and I said it yesterday. Still, I want you all to please be very, very patient with possible power outages and water outages later this week. We are having a lot more water with this storm than we have with the last one. The winds, especially out at the beaches, are going to be stronger. Therefore, we may have more problems out there. I'm just asking, please, for your patience and understanding as longer than normal service restoration times may be possible. Now, we're hoping to get it all up quickly, just like last time, but this is just a little bit more escalated from the last storm. Okay, so please just try to be patient. I know our crews are working hard, and we also want them to work safely. Remember that many other communities in the Southeast are in much worse shape than we are. I don't mean to lecture about that, but I just think we have to be mindful of the fact that there are a lot of folks in Central Florida, and of course the people who are continuing to deal with things in the Carolinas that really are going to take a great deal of focus, and I want us to be thinking about that, and certainly be grateful for the fact that once again it looks like we're missing the bullseye of this storm. As far as JTA is concerned, the Clay Flex Magenta line will discontinue service on Wednesday and Thursday. Otherwise, JTA will continue to run regular operations on their fixed bus route, BRT, First Coast Flyer routes, connection, and ready ride service as long as it is safe to do so on Wednesday and Thursday. The St. Johns River Ferry took its last trip this morning. It will reopen on Friday as soon as it is safe to do so. And the Skyway will be closed Wednesday and Thursday and reopen on Friday again when it is safe to do so. Ken Knight Drive, one of the areas that historically floods. We expect it to flood in this storm. So JTA is providing free shuttles for Ken Knight Drive residents. I would highly recommend that those residents take those shuttles starting at 8 a.m. on Wednesday throughout the duration of the storm. Pickup is at bus stop 3991 located at Ken Knight Drive and Moncrief Road. And residents will be transported to the Legend Center shelter. They will only have essential personnel reporting Wednesday through Friday. Wednesday and Thursday. Friday is TBD. Greyhound has canceled all bus operations across Florida beginning at 6 p.m. today. It is undetermined when they will resume operations. Our downtown terminal will remain closed until that happens. If you live in a flood-prone area or are concerned about damage to your car, the following city-owned garages will be open downtown starting at 8 a.m. Wednesday through Friday at no charge. We'll have the Water Street Garage, that's at 541 Water Street. The Ed Ball Building at 238 West Monroe Street. The Yates Building at 200 East Adams Street. And Duval Street at 33 West Duval Street. JTA will also open their Kings Avenue garage for free as well. Public Works. A lot of questions about yard waste. We have extra teams out today and tomorrow, picking up as much yard waste as we possibly can. They are prioritizing the neighborhoods that will face the worst wind and flood threats and then move out from there because of this prioritization by neighborhood. You really do not need to call 630 City to report a missed pickup. We're going to do the very best we can. We've got extra crews. Public Works is just working as hard as they can possibly work to get up as much of this yard waste as we can. But again, please be patient with that and move anything that you can move out. If it's not picked up by the time the storm is approaching, please just make sure you move that to a place where it's not going to fly around if you possibly can. The beaches, municipalities, and Baldwin have also added extra teams to pick up yard waste in their communities as well. So we, again, ask for your continued patience. There has been a lot to pick up since Helene. And please do not put more yard waste on the curb at this point. We'll get back to normal here as soon as we can once all this is done. Our various public works teams are also taking care of trees, clearing drains, inlets, and ditches, and securing loose items in advance of the storm. For the first time ever, a tiger dam is being set up in Jacksonville Beach to help with storm surge. We will be keeping solid waste pickup on schedule today and also on Wednesday as long as it's safe to do so. And all Thursday solid waste collections, garbage, recycling, and yard waste will be suspended. I thought I had a note about, I believe that there are also going to be tiger dams set up at Atlantic Boulevard and Ahern Street in Atlantic Beach, the Atlantic Neptune area, to make sure that anything that we can keep from coming up there from the ocean we'll do so. We don't know how bad that's going to get, but we're going to do everything we can to make sure it doesn't get any worse than it needs to. As far as the airport is concerned, the airport is monitoring the storm. No flight cancellations at this point. If the airport closes because all flights have been canceled by the airlines, need to check with the airlines. Always check with the airlines, not with the airport, because they'll stay open as long as there are flights. If there are no flights, the airport will close and they will not be used as a shelter. So they're going to try to help with people who need rides away from there, but really the airport is not a shelter, so please don't plan on that. Let's see, JSO is adding more officers to patrol gas stations, hotels, and the parking garages that will be open for citizens. They will also have extra patrols to monitor the bridges. We're expecting some high winds with this, so they're going to do that. They're going to provide traffic control, and they're going to close off our flooded roads. They ask us to remind you to please not drive through those flooded roads. We don't need any more folks that need to be rescued than necessary during this storm. So please stay off the roads. Starting tomorrow night. Looks like we have a little bit of delay in those heavy rains coming in. So really the best news for us in terms of timing is that since this is not going to be as bad as it's going to get until late at night, everybody really should just be home and off the roads. JFRD will be staging 3 swiftwater rescue teams, 6 emergency road access teams or ERAT teams, and 1 urban search and rescue team. These teams will be going out to the field at 8 a.m. on Wednesday. Had initially planned to send them out this afternoon. there's really not a need to fatigue those folks past when we need to. So the fact that the storm is hitting a little later, we're going to make sure that they get out tomorrow morning. So just to conclude, a few things here. Today and tomorrow, or really today, we'd like you to get everything buttoned up. Obviously, you have early tomorrow before the bands start to come in tomorrow afternoon and then get real heavy tomorrow evening. But it's a beautiful day out there. We've got a little bit of drier weather, so it's a great day to get out and get everything buttoned down and get ready for tomorrow. Enjoy the beautiful weather and get ready for a couple of days of inconveniences. Clean up any limbs or debris. Clean your drains and gutters. Secure loose outdoor items that could become projectiles. Be mindful of trees that could become uprooted from heavy winds and are already saturated from previous weeks of rain. These are all things that we have had an ongoing concern about. Ensure that your supply kits are stocked and you have an emergency plan for your family. All your final preps, again, should be made before Wednesday evening. 630 City has extended hours on Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. tonight and going into 24-hour mode tomorrow. And of course, as always, you can visit jacksready.com/Milton for more information. You have something updated for me? Okay, thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. Okay, so this is where the Tiger Dams are going to be. Ahern Street and 20 Seagate Avenue and 1 Atlantic Boulevard. Okay? I'm trying to read your handwriting here, Phil.
The state could install them and then JEA.
Oh, the state will install them, and JEA and the beaches are working with the state on more. We're going to have to work on that handwriting, Phil. But that's where the Tiger Dams are going to be, and hopefully we have found those to be helpful so far, and so hopefully that will help us to keep from having any sort of major issue with the storm surge. I'll answer questions, and so will any of our leaders here as soon as we hear our update from Alex and the National Weather Service. Alex?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. Alex Booth with the National Weather Service. So as a quick overview of Milton and its current position and intensity, it is currently a Category 4 with measured wind speeds of 150 miles per hour per the last recon of the system. Milton is now moving east-northeastward around 9 miles an hour, projected to move a little bit more northeastward through today and through tomorrow before making landfall somewhere along the west coast of Florida, inside that cone that we've been looking at. And just because that cone has Jacksonville south or outside that cone does not mean that we are going to be outside of the impact zone. Impacts will be felt well away from the system because as it approaches, it's going to broaden its wind field. And we're going to feel those tropical storm force winds as soon as tomorrow evening, more late evening, but likely late tomorrow night through the day Thursday as Milton makes its way eastward across Florida and then into the Atlantic. Currently, just our situation here in Duval County, just mentioning what the mayor had mentioned earlier, we are under a tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch, and the hurricane watch remains in place due to the potential for stronger winds, hurricane force winds, and gusts along the ocean front and the riverfront areas. That wind threat will bring the potential for wind damage, as the mayor also mentioned, for the trees that were weakened during Helene that didn't come down. We'll have those trees also soaked with rainfall with Milton, as we're expecting anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rainfall, locally higher amounts closer to the coast, maybe 10 inches or more, with that wind, creating more problems with damage and trees coming down in those areas. As far as going from here forward, today is a brilliant day to finish your preparations, and then going into tomorrow, we want to make sure that everything is prepared before the bands start to arrive, which appear to be more of the mid to late afternoon period. And with those bands of heavy rainfall, we are expecting the winds to start increasing as well with tropical storm force gusts at that time. And that is all. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, any questions for me or for anybody behind me? You know, I'm gonna let either Chief Ayub or.
Good afternoon, Arnold Ayub, Director of Emergency Preparedness. Yes, so they are they can be put out there. They're filled up with water, and they Also, the question that I always get hit with sandbags. This is really something that Florida Department of Emergency Management gives us. They actually deploy it to us, and they set them up. So they're very secure and filled up with water, and they're easy to break down.
Are they there now, Andre?
Yes, ma'am. As you mentioned, we have several, but we're working right now with our logistics team and our beaches partners to identify additional locations so we can deploy them. So there is some out there right now. We're getting more out there as we speak.
The fact that this is the first time using them, I think that speaks volumes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, that's the first discussion when we met is to get those tiger dams, especially if we knew it was going to be a coastal event, get those tiger dams out there to them. But we've used them previously at a couple of fire stations, but this is the first time we're using it actually out there at the beaches.
What are the worst impact zones for flooding in the city of Jacksonville?
No, you're saying.
You indicate that the usual suspects.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I mean, except you're just adding the beaches now. You have your usual suspects that we always say, right? And then you add the beaches to that because of the fact that we're going to have some storm surge out there. So, all those places, Southampton, San Marco, we're talking about the Moncrief area, we're talking about, some areas of St. Nicholas. Those are the same areas that we generally will see flooding. You're going to see flooding along the riverfront and along the ocean.
And second question, what about traffic issues? 95 was a bear this morning coming through. Will that continue? Are there some concerns about heavy traffic and maybe some actual jam-ups?
Well, look, what we know about human behavior is that people, if you look at the bell curve of how people tend to respond, you're going to have a lot of people on the road after they should be on the road. So we want to just continue to be mindful of that. There have been a couple of, situations, but I know that in talking with our law enforcement this morning, they're really on top of that. They've got folks out there trying to make sure that anything that is occurring on the roads is handled quickly, and they keep those roads flowing. It's going to be heavy, though. It is going to be heavy traffic as people continue to come up from the south.
Can people coming from out of Jacksonville use the shelters?
Yes, absolutely they can. That's why we're talking about the possibility of opening additional shelters should we need them. Because what we're hearing, and I don't know if you saw yesterday, but it was suggested in the state briefing that people should come to Jacksonville, which gave us all a little bit of pause. But I think a lot of people heeded that, and so we've got a lot of folks that are coming up from South Florida or Central and South Florida that are filling up our hotels and that may need our shelters as they continue. I've seen several posts from people this morning saying, "Gosh, I wasn't going to leave, but now I think I should leave. Should I still leave?" And then and I think that's going to happen. People are going to decide at the last minute they want to get out of the way of the storm. So they're going to. We're a pretty quick access point.
As far as power outages, is the expectation it's going to be the same as it was during Hurricane Milton in terms of the number of people without power?
Look, I don't know that there's a way to quantify that with a number, David, aside from the fact that we do expect these winds, especially out at the beaches and along the riverfront, to have occasional hurricane strength gusts. So they're not that different than what we saw with Helene, but you add that to all the water that we're going to have that may bring down more trees, that may hit more power lines. See what I'm saying? So I don't think there's a way to know if it's going to be worse, but I certainly don't have any reason to believe it's not going to be just as significant. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and attention, and we will see you back here at 6:05 tonight.